Hey guys, Skyflying Designs with you. So today we're making a 3D model of a pumpkin. I will guide you through the modeling and texturing process so you can create fun renders just in time for Halloween. So let's get started. Starting with a new Blender file, we want to select everything with A and then press X to delete everything. After that, let's press Shift A, add mesh and select the UV sphere. And now we have to add a subdivision surface modifier. So instead of going into the modifier step, we can press Ctrl 2 on our keyboard to add a subdivision surface modifier with 2 levels of subdivision. Okay, so now let's press S and Z to scale it on the Z axis just like that. Then press Ctrl A and apply the scale. Now let's press 7 on our numpad and let's select the same edges as I select. Then go to Select menu, select Loops, and then choose Edge Loops. Okay, so everything looks nice, and now let's press Alt S and let's shrink it to about right here. And now let's press 1 on our numpad, press Z, go into wireframe mode, left click and let's drag over these vertices here. Then press X and delete the vertices. Now let's go to Add Modifier and let's add a Mirror modifier. Then press 1 on your numpad, go into the edit mode and press K to select the knife tool. And you can find these 3 vertices over here, so let's click this one. And then I choose another one and we'll continue selecting additional vertex to create a smooth line. Press enter to confirm these new edges here. And let's select these faces here and then X, F to delete the faces. Okay, so you can see we created eyes here, and we can actually select this vertex and double tap G on your keyboard and you can slide it wherever you want. And I will slide it to about right here, but you can do it any way you want. Okay, right now let's press K on your keyboard and we will work on the pumpkin's mouth. So here you can just follow me and use the knife tool as I do. And when creating new vertices, make sure you split the edges into 2 parts. By the way, if you want to be precise and split the edge directly in the middle, you can hold down the Shift key and you can see the knife tool puts our vertex directly in the middle of the edge. But we do not need to be that precise, so I prefer to do it without the Shift key. Let's select these faces here. After that, press X and F to delete them. Okay, so that looks nice, and let's drag our mirror modifier up so it would be above the subdivision surface modifier. And now let's add a solidify modifier and also put it above the subdivision surface. And we can play around with the number, and for me 0.1 looks good. Now let's press W and shade smooth our pumpkin. Go into edit mode and let's select these vertices here. You can follow me and select the same vertices that I select. After that we are going to bevel them, so press Ctrl B on your keyboard and then V to bevel vertices. And let's bevel them with 2 segments like you see here. And now we can apply a mirror modifier, so let's hover over it and let's just press Ctrl A to apply it. And let's select these middle vertices here and bevel them as well. And now let's create our stem here, so let's get into edit mode, select the top vertex, Shift S cursor to select it, after that let's press Shift A, add mesh cylinder, scale it down just like that, and let's press Ctrl 2 to add a subdivision surface modifier. In the edit mode select the top face and extrude it like that. Press 1 to go into the front view, hold Ctrl and click anywhere on your screen to extrude it even more. Go into the wireframe mode, let's select these vertices here, and let's enable the proportional editing here. After that S, Shift Z to block the Z axis and let's scale it down just like that. Now let's select the top vertices, press S, then Shift Z and scale them as well. Okay, select the top face now, press I to inset, and then press Ctrl R to add a loop cut here. Now press W and shade it smooth. Let's scale it down just like that, and then let's add a loop cut at the bottom, so Ctrl R, add loop cut. Now it's time to make a material for our pumpkin, so let's do that. Let's create a new window and let's open shader editor. After that, let's create new material, so press new button. And we are going to add a noise texture right now, so let's do that. Shift A, search for noise texture. Okay, so now let's press Ctrl T to add additional nodes, and let's press Shift A and search for bump node. Now let's connect vector to height. And bump node normal, we should connect to the normal of principal BSDF. Press Z, go into the rendered view, Shift A, add the sunlight. Let's bring it up, just like that, and let's rotate it on an X-axis. In the light settings, let's increase the strength to 5. Okay, so now we can work on our materials, and let's increase the noise details to 15. Okay, so looking good so far. Now let's connect object from texture coordinate node to vector of the mapping node. Increase the scale to something like 43 and set roughness to 0.7. Okay, and now we can play with roughness a bit, so you can choose the result that you like the most. And now we can set the bump node strength to 0.2. Okay, let's just select everything and move it down, just like that. After that, Shift A, search for color ramp, put it somewhere right here. Select the white color and change it to something like dark orange. Plug the color into the base color. Okay, so far looks nice. Now we can select the black color and set it to dark brown. Something like this should work, and you can see when I move the slider, it just changes the color like that, and we want it to work another way. And let's connect the vector of our noise texture to the vector of our color ramp. And you can see when we move our slider, the dark brown color scatters around our pumpkin. So I'm going to move the slider to somewhere right here, and you can see we will have a slightly brown color on our object. And that looks really nice, and now I am going to work on the roughness of this object, so I am going to add some surface imperfections here. And if you don't have any surface imperfections, you can just search for them on Google, or you can just set the value of roughness to something like 0.6 and it will work as well. And now with this surface imperfection selected, I'm going to press Ctrl T to add additional nodes. And I'm going to add a color ramp right now, and I will connect the color to vector of this color ramp. And you can see how the surface imperfections look. So first of all, I would like to swap the black color with the white one. And then let's move the black color to the middle of our color ramp. And let's increase the brightness of this black color and make it gray, something like this should work. Now I will connect the color to the roughness, and you can see how it looks. I think the white color can be tweaked a bit, and I can make it darker. Just like that, and this one I can make a bit more brighter. And I mean, you can see how it looks, so you can play around and find the best option that suits you. Now let's select our pumpkin, Shift S, cursor to select it, and then Shift A, add Mesh UV Sphere. And let's scale the UV sphere down, and then SZ to scale it on the Z axis. And then scale it down so it would be inside of our pumpkin. Let's create new material and call it emission, and let's go to the emission tab, but before that let's go to the object properties. You can find the visibility tab here, and what you need to do is uncheck the camera option. Let's go back to the emissions tab, set value to something extreme like 150. And we are not able to see the UV sphere itself, but we can still see the emission it projects. And that is just what we needed. Right now you can go to render properties, scroll down until you see the color management, and you can play around with contrast look. You can also tweak exposure if you want, and for me I think I will go with the high contrast option. As for the stem material, we can make it dark green, and if you want to play around with the material even more, you can add a noise texture and then add a bump node. And the noise texture roughness should be something like 0.85. Okay, so I really like how everything looks so far, so we can add a camera, Shift A, add camera, press Alt R to reset the rotation, and then just RX90, RZ180, You can create an animation around the 3D cursor or something like that. I will now add a table from my Blender Kit add-on. And then let's press Shift A, add mesh plane, RX, rotate 90 degrees, then GUY to move it on the Y axis, and let's make a new material for our plane. Let's give it a black color, and you can set roughness to 0 or 1, I will personally set it to 1, and move it on the X axis. And you can see the results, so feel free to play with your scene and create the render that you will like. Also, do not forget to subscribe since there are more tutorials to come. Thank you for watching and see you soon.